Wipro recently axed 300 employees after it found that they were also working for its rivals. The decision was announced by the firm's executive chairman Rishad Premji, a vocal critic of moonlighting. As remote working became the norm due to the COVID-19 pandemic, employees found it easier to take up more than one job at a time without the knowledge of their companies, a practice known as moonlighting. Of late, it has become a concern for the Indian IT industry. The co-founder and former CEO of Infosys, Chris Gopalakrishnan, also joined the debate recently, saying that working for more than one company at the same time would come in the way of building trust. His remarks were aimed particularly at the new generation of techies. Earlier in September, Infosys sent an email to employees titled "No Double Lives." The country's second largest IT services firm said that dual employment was not permitted in line with the employee handbook and code of conduct. However, the email from Infosys also made a distinction that may prove to be important in settling the moonlighting debate in the future. It said that the company's consent was paramount with regard to moonlighting. The letter added that consent may be given subject to terms and conditions and may also be withdrawn at any time. Effectively, this leaves the possibility open that at least some employees could hold two jobs simultaneously without it being considered moonlighting. In fact, companies are reportedly turning to experts and digital tools, which forensic accountants say can easily track moonlighters. Arpinder Singh, Global Markets and India leader, Forensic and Integrity Services (EY), told Business Standard that EY was working with several firms to gauge the extent of moonlighting among their staff. Even as they tackle this problem, there's evidence that the plans for the Great Return, or resuming work from the office, are not progressing smoothly for all IT firms. While IT companies have been at the forefront when it comes to hybrid and flexible work, they have now taken the lead in rolling back remote work plans. IT firms have had to keep up with the changing dynamics of the job market, where, till recently, workers had been quitting their jobs, seeking either higher pay, better benefits, or more control over their lives. While Indian IT firms say that a hybrid workforce is the new normal, client needs have made a return to the office and work sites necessary. Also, a return to the office first is necessary for their hybrid policies to kick in. At Tata Consultancy Services, 20% of its employees are back to office. TCS has said that it will continue to drive the return to office model because having a permanent hybrid work environment will first involve getting back to a normal working environment. That is why TCS recently asked around 80% of its staff to return to the office. Perhaps the industry's frustration with stubborn employees was best reflected when RPG Group chairman Harsh Goenka recently warned IT workers of a mediocre career trajectory if they dug in their heels and worked from home. These challenges couldn't have come at a worse time. The performance of top-tier IT firms in the first quarter of the current financial year shows that they are still far away from getting a grip on managing attrition. In fact, talent retention challenges have eroded both their margins and any gains they may have made thanks to the depreciating rupee. Despite higher pay and other retention policies, attrition continued to zoom. Attrition at Infosys rose to 28.4%. TCS saw a much higher rise in attrition at 19.7%. Attrition at HCL Technologies for the quarter was up at 23.8%. In fact, Wipro was the only company that reported a drop in attrition at 23.3%. The IT industry will be worried that the current talent crisis may delay its efforts to move up the value chain by delinking headcount and revenue streams. So, what is the root cause for these challenges? Is it perhaps a human resources management challenge?
So it certainly is an HR management problem, but in my opinion, it goes beyond the realms of HR. There is a serious demand-supply gap, and because of which the balance of power is in favor of employees and resources. And it is because of that reason we see employees these days, at least in the IT industry, would demand higher remuneration. They would look for moonlighting, for example, these days. First, look at creating a human-centric design when you are thinking about HR management. We are talking about Gen Z resources and align your processes and the way you think to the way Generation Z thinks. Look at hybrid work, look at changing your culture, look at bringing in more agility, Look at hiring gig workers. It'll be a bad idea to completely reject moonlighting. Internship and graduate programs, right? Which is something which is pretty normal for a very large IT company. But for a small company, they don't do it. They will have to consider starting an internship or graduate program as well.
As long as there is no potential for a conflict of interest and the employee productivity is not negatively affected, companies should be receptive to employees working into side employees, right? And I think that's one of the reason why when you have a hard stop, the attrition also increases, right? Currently, there has been either people who are for it or there are people who are completely against it, and I think that's something is not helping the whole cause. From a company's point of view, marketing itself as employee focused and accommodating is a great way to entice top talent.
Recently, freshers who had received job offers from top IT companies took to social media to say that they had not received an offer letter or any communication about the onboarding process even 3 to 5 months after the offer was made. The companies concerned have said that all the offers made will be honored. However, this may point to some lacuna in their HR process, which could damage the trust of future employees. Loyalty, after all, is a two-way street. IT industry leaders have spoken a lot about how employees must build trust. Perhaps equal emphasis is now needed on IT firms responding in kind.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.